with like being a former catcher and dealing with catchers, how do you guys go through playing time for Bo or for anyone that extends himself as a catcher?
Yeah, it's a great question. That's something, one, we always involve the players' input. So Bo and Hedgie, but especially Bo, he's taking the lion's share of the reps. So we always keep in touch with him, how he's feeling. We keep in touch with our medical staff, like they're outstanding to see how he's recovering, how he's feeling. And that's why sometimes we'll either pinch run or pinch hit for a catcher early, knowing that, it saves them some rest on their legs, and then knowing that there's a stretch of games that he might play. The game times are always a great indicator of how we can deploy our catching. Like this series in particular with the 7, the 4, and the 1, so it kind of lined up great for Bo. Travel days as well, and then also the weather. I mean, going back to Kansas City, like hot like that, doubleheader, you want to make sure those guys, that cadence of their heat exertion to make sure that they're feeling great. But the biggest indicator is literally the player's input.
How much does not having David Fry in that mix sort of impact the way things are as opposed to the beginning of last year when you had 3 guys available and his availability late in games?
Yeah, obviously myself and voter are biased. We would love to have 3 catchers. It makes everything easier and interchangeable. But yeah, it was easier with Fry as well, just because now we can stagger the playing time and also the versatility of David. Where going back to a game last year at home against the White Sox, you went from first to catcher back to first base. So having that versatility is huge. But having the third catcher allows you that cadence to get guys rest and days off and check in on their bodies, because at the end of the day, it's such a grind with these guys, especially mentally. That's the biggest thing. The way the catch position has changed over time, with the emphasis on receiving, like you have to be locked in on every pitch because you don't know what pitch might sway the count and that might give up damage for their pitcher. So just the mental toll as well as the physical toll is huge.
Where is Fry in his throwing progression? Is he, obviously he's not going to catch this year, but is there signs in progress there that you guys are seeing?
Yeah, he's throwing the ball really well right now. He's throwing out to 90 feet. His arm stroke is really clean right now. Him and Sandy are doing great work as far as his arm stroke, getting that back to where it should be. Last year was a little haywire, obviously playing outfield and first base. So the main problem solving was to give him an arm stroke where he can go out and play a variety of different positions, so he doesn't have to change it when he goes behind the plate, change it when he goes in the outfield. And our medical staff has done a great job with David. But right now he's at 90 feet and he's throwing the ball really well.
Greg, you guys have had a considerable amount of success with the inside move to second base, and voters giving you credit for putting that play on a number of times. How much of that comes from just your instincts from being a catcher, and how much of that is advanced scouting and looking at teams' tendencies and what they may or may not do?
Yeah, I say it's everything. The prep work starts. You have the advanced numbers, and you do your deep dives on the team's tendencies and the runner's tendencies, and that's kind of like the baseline. But then you go out and the game's a whole different animal, so you have that in your back pocket, and then you just have to watch the game. But honestly, our credit goes to our players. You can try to implement an inside move, drop gloves, pickoffs, but if the players don't have the wherewithal to sell the inside move or have the right timing or the engagement on certain plays, it's not going to work. And our guys are very engaged on it. It starts from spring training, so that's something they take a lot of pride in. So it's easier for us as a staff to deploy those different tactics to kind of keep the running game. But it even goes to our middle infielders, especially at second base. Like they're in on every play. When I look out there, Gabby, Rocchio, Schneider looking in at the dugout, like letting me know like, hey, he's getting off or whatever the case may be. So it's a complete buy-in from everyone. So to have those plays come up, we know it's to get the out is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to kind of keep the runner at bay from not getting an extra 90 feet. But we've had, some success with getting the outs, and that's just credit to our players kind of executing the play.
It seemed like for the longest time, that move was almost like, I don't want to say a stall tactic. When you see a pitcher kind of turn, and there wasn't much there. They say daylight play. If there's daylight, you throw. Do you guys kind of want your guys not just using that as a throwaway play to, to keep the element of surprise intact, and so therefore you only put it on when you know there's a real good chance that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that you never want to just do something just to do it. Obviously, the clock's winding down. Sometimes you have to do it. Like I said, it's just stepping off, like inside move or whatever the case may be. But I mean, it goes back to spring training. I know our pitching group did a great job with our pitches of diving in on the inside move to make it look like their regular motion. And I think that's the biggest thing where a guy does an inside move. He kind of just goes through the motions and it looks nothing like his regular motion. But our guys, our pitching group, done a great job in spring training of laying that baseline of if we're going to do the inside move, let's make sure it looks like your normal leg kick going down the mound, the home plate. So it's a credit to that, like I said, to our players, but also our pitching group.
Did you get much chance to interact with Capus this spring, or just what are your impressions of him overall?
Yeah, he came up, actually more than a handful of times. The impression of Capus is one quiet kid, very quiet, but also intense in his own way. It never seems like he's over his skis or overwhelmed, and that showed yesterday. The crowd was outstanding. His last at bat with the bases loaded, the crowd standing on their feet chanting his name, which was awesome to see. But he still had a great at bat, and that's something where we know that's his calling card. Is his at bat quality. He gives a professional pro at bat every single time, and the way he goes about his swing and approach to the plate is going to err to a lot of that. He doesn't have a one groove swing. Like he has a swing that has a bunch of different movement solutions to different pitches. So that's something where he's never going to get, in my opinion, overwhelmed by pitching. He gives him enough time to see pitches and grind out at bat. So that's something that I think is going to be his calling card moving forward. So the kid, he's such a great kid, and he's not going to be overwhelmed at this stage.
How do you, in a week like this, on the outside looking in, just how do you gauge the emotions of a team, and how important was it that you guys had a grip on it? Because it seems like you guys bounced back pretty well this week.
Yeah, I guess there was a lot going on. A variety of different areas, but our group's resilient, and we showed that going back to last year and especially this year. I mean, this year we got hit. We had a hit in the face a bunch of times, whether it be a 10-game losing streak, a couple pitchers not being here anymore. And the trade deadline affects every player, no matter what, any team, because there's always rumors out there, your name's out there, you don't know if your friend's leaving, what's going to happen to your playing time. It's always I wouldn't say a dark cloud, but it's always there. And once you get over that hump of the trade deadline, now it's like, okay, this is the group we have. And I know feeling that room and that energy, that's exactly what it was. It was just like, all right, we're here. This is our team. Let's ride. But the one thing with the leaders in the clubhouse, with Hosey, Quan, Hedgie, Bo, pretty much everyone in that club, it's all about winning today. And that has not changed since I've been here. And that's something where whoever's in that clubhouse, it's going to be the same thing.
Something that you guys are noticing about Joey after the first time through the order, or is that just one of those baseball things where numbers go up naturally?
Yeah, it's one of those baseball things, and especially with young pitchers, it's there. There's always the outliers when they first come up, but for Joey, it's always strikes with him. His stuff's elite. I mean, he has 3 really great pitches, and especially with the curveball and changeup and the movement profile on his fastball, it's really tough to square up. But when Joey's throwing strikes, that's where he can go deep into games, is when he's falling behind in counts, getting the bad counts. It's tough for any pitcher to survive at this level, but especially a young pitcher, it's really tough to survive. So when he's throwing strikes and putting the hitters on their heels, that's where he can get deep in the games, and hopefully we see that today.
You guys ever gonna go back to jerseys, you and Boat, in the dugout, or is it just pullovers for now?
I am staying pat with the pullovers. The Vody already changed. He's wearing his jersey already because we lost the series, the last series, so he's going jersey. Also, he was freshly removed as a player, so he probably still feels like he could play a little bit. But he did say that the pullover was a lot more comfortable, which I was trying to tell him. But he can still wear the jersey. He looks good in it.
Albie, with the regularity of bullpen games nowadays, preparing for a game like this, is there a little more energy for you knowing that there's probably a lot more strategy involved, given that you don't know what they're going to do from inning to inning with how they're going to deploy a pitching staff against you?
Yeah. Yeah, it is the fun part, because you try to foresee what they're going to do, and ultimately you don't know, right? So you want to be prepared for everything, what might happen. It gets a little hairy when there's more than one lefty on the other side, just because we're so lefty heavy. And that's where kind of like the matchups and what you try to do and when to go, when not to go, when to hold. That's always a fun part. But I think with our guys, talk with our hitting group, you kind of have to be prepared for the guy that's going to be throwing bulk. And then, with the leverage relievers, we already go over them. But now you kind of see who's up, who's down for them, and when you can deploy the best matchup that we see fit. And the credit to our hitting group, but also our players, they're always ready. They're always ready to go. I think the fun part for me is when you're in the dugout, as soon as you see a reliever pop up and on the TV, and they're in the pen, our guys are already going to the cage to get ready. You don't even have to tell them. So that's a credit to where they're at mentally. Of even though they're not starting the game, they know that we're going to use everyone. They're prepared to go in.
What do you think of that strategy that they're deploying? They've got a couple of guys who'll go 60 pitches and they'll rotate that in. Is that something that you guys look at as maybe a next, not fad, but evolution in how you use a bullpen, and something you're looking at as for the future?
Yeah, I mean, you always want your starter to go 9 innings, ideally, but that happening is few and far between. It's really, really tough for a hitter to see a variety of different arms, and especially where you have a bullpen. If you have a bullpen with a variety of different looks, whether it be arm slot, pitch mix, velo, handedness, that's just tough for a hitter because ideally, if you do it right or you have the bullpen to do it, now you have each hitter and their 4 at bats don't see the same pitcher, so now you have 4 different looks every at bat, and that's ideally where you want to go. But so that's the plus side of that, but also the downside is when you use a bullpen game, how many guys you use, 5 or 6, they all have to be on. If one guy is off, then it's tough to make up. So that's like the volatility of a bullpen game. And that's why, when we do it, we try not to stretch our guys too far or too thin. You want to make sure that, they're in the best spot to succeed, and so they can go out and perform. But yeah, it's really tough on the hitting side to kind of match up and get a feel for the game for that.
Will Capus get the majority of the playing time in right?
Yeah, he's going to play some right. He's going to play first. He's going to DH. With the way our roster is structured, we have a lot of versatility. With Angel and Schnee, they can float back and forth between the grass and the dirt. And the same thing with Capus with right and first base. So yeah, he's going to be in right. He's going to be in first. I think as we move forward, it's kind of dictated on everyone's play and performance, obviously, with that being said, but also the pitching matchup. What's the best matchup for a hitter? Just like we talked about on the bullpen side, you want your pitchers in the best chance to succeed, but also our hitters. We want our hitters in the best chance to succeed. So we want to give them the best matchups for us to win and also for them.
One last thing, Jose, we were talking about this on the air last night. You don't see a lot of guys at 32 years age contending for a stolen base title now. I mean, that's seriously within his grasp. And yet, rarely do you see him just steal a base to steal a base. I mean, it seems like it's always instinctual with him. Now that you've gotten a chance to be around him and watch him, does he amaze you with the things he's doing at this stage in his career?
Yeah. It blows me away every night. Like even, talk about stolen base, but even yesterday when he hit the 2-run homer to tie it up, it's just he does something every day that just wows you. Whether it be an at bat, defense, base running, leading the group on the field. Like, to me, in my opinion, he's the best baseball player in the game, all around. Like, he can impact a game on every aspect. And it's rare to see that nowadays. But at his age, to me, he still has plenty of years left. The way he takes care of his body. And the thing that gets lost is he plays hard all the time, so his body is used to that. And you see a lot of nowadays where guys will coast down a line or not even run to first, but then now they have to run hard. Your body's not used to that. So now your body's like, no, I can't do that. And that's where like those little soft tissue injuries happen. But Hosey plays hard all the time, so his body's aware of that. So like moving forward, he's gonna keep on doing what he's doing, and it's not gonna surprise me when he wins the stolen base title. Because one, he's skilled, but also what everyone doesn't realize, he's prepared. Like, he's in there with Sandy before every game, looking over the pitcher, his tells, his times, his usages, the catcher, how he throws, on certain pitches as well. Like, he's prepared as anyone to go in the game. It's not just pure skill.
Too, is it, how much does he take off of the staff's plate? We watch him in the dugout on the iPad with younger players, like going over whether it's an opposing pitcher or looking at their last at bat. How much does he remove from your guys having to go and talk to a guy?
Yeah, he has his corner down the end of the dugout. That's it. He has a congregation and he holds court. Yeah, absolutely, and that's awesome. That's what we want, because no matter what we do as a staff, the players still have to play. And it's just like everyone that's a parent in here, like, you can tell your kid a million different things. He's not going to do it. But then when someone says the same thing that's not you, they're going to listen. Like, it happens all the time. It's the same thing with Hosey, and especially with Hosey. Like, we talk about how hard he plays. You just watch him play. He just leads. He doesn't have to be a vocal leader. He just goes out there the way he leads and plays the game. Everyone should follow that, and they do. And that's one of my favorite parts about in-game in the dugout is when I go down the other end of the dugout to have conversations, every inning with them, and Hosey's just holding court. And a lot of times I just listen, and then I usually talk a little crap to Hosey, get back and forth, and then go back to the other end of the dugout. But yeah, it's just great having that leader down there, especially with the young players, Angel, Rocchio, even Gabby. Now we have Capus, and and obviously like some other guys, Nolan Jones, Kyle. The list goes on. But he's just a great mentor for everyone.
Joey, I've talked to some of the other guys. Hey, let me ask you this. What does it feel like when I have all these other major league starters go, oh, man, I would love to have Joey Cantillo's changeup?
I would say I'd love to have Gavin Williams' fastball. I'd love to have Tanner Bybee's slider. I'd love to have Logan Allen's cutter. All the same stuff. Slade, his sinker, everything he's throwing. It means a lot. I mean, obviously a lot of these guys, we've come up together and we've competed together over the years. And I think, like we were talking about earlier with the other guys, like, honestly, seeing them be the consistency that a lot of them have, I think that's been like the coolest thing to see. And we each have things that we do well, and it's like, hey, can we learn from this? Can we ask and tinker different grips and see what this guy's doing that works well? And I think we do a good job of that.
Who taught you the grip you have for your change?
My high school coach, Corey Shigo, taught me that. He taught me that, I think, either my sophomore or junior year of high school, and I never really had to throw it just because, I threw a lot of fastballs and was trying to figure out how to throw a curveball. And it was a horrible pitch. Like, I had no idea where it was going. I threw it in the dirt every single time. And then once I got to pro ball, I kind of had to throw it a little bit more in catch play. And, just the more I threw it, I started to get a feel for it. And it got better and better.
Talk about catch play. I think for people that aren't pitchers, we just go, oh, they're playing catch. But I've been around here long enough to know that when you guys go out in that line, your catch play is very important to you, not only for yourself, but the guy you're catching, right? And what are you guys trying to pick up on from each other?
Yeah, we spend, hours here every day, but it's all to prepare for, especially, if you're a starting pitcher, you only got your 15 minutes of catch play, 20 minutes of catch play. Like, that's your office for the day of, like, where can I actually fine tune some things, go through what I'm here to do, which is throw. It's huge. It's a lot of the time it's kind of just you're letting your arm work, but I mean every day we're working on different pitch grips. We're working on the execution. I think for me right now, I'm working on a lot of execution. And then if you're playing catch with another pitcher, it's like, hey, you know, you're seeing what he does. You're making sure his shapes are consistent to what he usually does, and giving him feedback. Because, you know, one day you might be cutting your fastball a little bit. One day, you know, your slider might not getting the bite or the glove side movement that it normally does. So kind of having that communication is important.
What did you take from being in the bullpen at the beginning of this year? Because you've always been a starter, but what did you take from that moment, going to Columbus and getting back here and being ready for this opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't want to say a challenge at first because I've done it in the past. It's just, you know, you're getting ready quicker, and that's the biggest thing. But I think the biggest thing is like the urgency. Hey, you're coming into a game, you don't know how many pitches you're gonna have. You know, it's not necessarily, hey, I'm in the first inning and it's let's get settled in, let's, you know, establish things. It's like, no, you got one pitch. Like, you might have, you know, if you're coming in with 2 outs, like, hey, we're getting this hitter. Like, you got to go from pitch one and kind of have some urgency. And I think, you know, that's something I've talked about and I'm talking about right now. But I think that's something I could do a better job of in my next in my next start tomorrow. It's like, hey, let's have some urgency from pitch one. You know, I've walked a couple guys to start off the game. It's like, no, let's attack from pitch one. Let's have some urgency. Like, you're coming in the 6th inning, the 7th inning. Like, there's no dilly-dally. You're going right at them, and that's kind of the priority and the thought process that needs to go about.
I love that your thought process is ahead of the curve because I gave you an idea what I wanted to talk to you about, and in my first question, you went through all 4 other starters and what you wanted to take from them. Did you already process it in your mind before I even asked?
No, I mean, you say, hey, someone wants to have my changeup. It's like, yeah, we honestly, like, the stuff we have on this team and the things that the guys have developed, like, we saw Gavin yesterday. Like, I think anybody would kill to have that fastball. Tanner slider, like, honestly, everything Logan and Slade throw. Like, those guys, I think what's so impressive about those 2 guys specifically is, like, the way they execute pitches so competitively and they're around the zone so consistently. And that's honestly, from someone in my shoes, like, someone that's looking to do what they're doing and pitch deep into games and have consistent starts. It's like, hey, you know, what are they doing? Okay, they're executing their pitches over the plate consistently. So that's, you know, that's where my mind goes immediately with those guys, and just learning from them.